Good morning, gamers. Welcome into the Gamers Roast podcast. I'm your host, Joshua J. Alongside me, Wesley Lance.
Hey, you're doing like a Brady Bunch thing, looking over to the
I
side.
am. Hey, I mean, this is where you normally are anyway. So,
I know it's a little sad not being in the studio, but I
oh, yep,
understand going.
I'm back in the studio for today.
Yeah,
So,
I know. I kind of miss it, but this is nice because we can have fun like video effects, and it's nice because we can record. We have no excuses to take a week off. Basically, is what we have done for
yeah,
ourselves.
essentially, yes. But, so today is March.
Yeah,
What,
I
3rd?
think it's March 3rd. I'm gonna double
Man,
check because again we are doing this early. Yeah, March 3rd, Thursday, March 3rd.
time flies. I
Who
can't believe
can
how,
say
like,
where the road goes?
sorry for adjusting all this stuff on the fly, but
It's part of it. I mean, I
I
have
just
a
rather have it
blank.
kind of straight on rather than me looking down.
I know.
So,
I actually got my computer at a decent angle this week because last week I was like shaking the computer the whole time. My video looked terrible.
but anyway, saying we're figuring all this stuff out. It's gonna take some time, but this is the Gamers Roast podcast where we tell you everything you need to know about video games and coffee. Actually, we love coffee. Coffee is a great thing, and football when they have it. But sadly,
Still no
it's not
football.
here. But next month is the draft, so more football news coming at you eventually. Maybe we'll run through our top 5 picks of the NFL draft, see who we think is going to go. But if
I
you
mean,
want
you
all your
can.
sports news, then check out BAM Sports Live. There's some good friends of ours. They do that.
And they have a podcast all about sports with people who
Exactly.
actually know what they're talking about instead of half of this podcast not knowing what they're talking about.
Welcome back to everybody in the chat. Aaron, welcome back. Thanks for checking it out, sticking with us, even though you usually should be in bed. But hey, I'm cool if you stay up and watch. I'm all about that. Anyway, I want Wes to do the coffee of the week this
Yeah.
time.
Okay. So, fun story about the coffee this week. I was in Goshen visiting my grandma on Saturday, and there is this coffee roastery that I pass by every time we go there called Refinery Coffee Company. And it looked really interesting. I've always meant to go, and I never have. And so on the way back, I was like, you know what? Let's stop in. We're always looking for new coffees to try in the show. So I decided to pop in. I'm just gonna buy a pound of coffee. And Michaela was with me. She's like, you should mention that you have a podcast where you talk about coffee. And I was like, okay, whatever. And so the owner was actually there. Regina is her name. And I mentioned, hey, I've got a podcast where a friend of mine and I talk about coffee. We talk about games. We would like to review your coffee. And she said, well, you know what? And she was super excited, like just about coffee. This is a woman who was dedicated to the entire process. She had like a tasting chart up on her wall, like she's into it. And so she's like, you know what? Why don't I give you guys a free pound of coffee to try? And you guys can tell us what you think. So our coffee this week is from the you know what? I'm an idiot and forgot it. You fill time. I'm gonna go run and grab the bag real quick because I'm a moron and
Okay.
forgot to grab it.
Well, again, we are new to this whole thing, so we're getting this going and everything like that. Still figuring it all out. But a little bit later in the show, I am actually going to be talking about the backbone and
Ugh.
kind of how much fun I have with it, how it works
Oh
flawlessly
yeah.
on my phone. So we'll definitely be talking about that later on in the show. But hey, Wes is back. Welcome.
Advantage of having a small apartment. Our coffee this week is Refinery Coffee Company Brazil Sweet Blue. She said this is one of their best sellers, and it is graciously provided by Refinery. Got to give them a shout out. So yeah, if you're interested, they've got tons of different coffee, different flavors. They're located in Goshen, Indiana. They roast all the coffees there, so I'm excited to try it.
Yeah, same.
I tried both a dark roast and a light roast while I was there. And the light roast, so we kind of talk about how all coffees have like, notes of chocolate or fruity. She's like, this one's got a fruity note. And I, drank it. I was like, oh yeah, whatever. And it actually did taste fruity. Like she knows what she's talking about. So but yeah. So Brazil Sweet Brew from Refinery Coffee Roasters.
Well,
So yeah,
let's
we
give
both
it a
got a little
shot.
bit. Let's give this a shot here. Okay. That's a very light blend. Now, maybe I didn't make it as strong. Now, the difficult thing about this one is we both made it slightly differently, so it's going to taste differently for both of us.
I made it a little strong, what I think was strong. I used all the beans you gave me and put them all
Okay,
in the pot, made 10
yeah,
cups. Like, I
that was a
made a
lot.
pot. Yeah, I made a full pot with it, but it does still taste a little bit weak,
Mhm.
which isn't necessarily a bad thing. That can be a good thing. Um,
Oh, Aaron, it does look like a Gamer's Roast cup. No, this is my Game Boy cup. My brother got me for Christmas a couple years ago. It does look like a Gamer's Roast podcast
we
mug.
are coming out with some mugs, actually, so stay tuned for
Eventually,
that. I'm super excited for that. I'm hoping it happens sooner than later, so we'll see.
yeah.
Stay tuned for that. Anyway,
This is not what
but
that
back to
is,
the
though.
coffee.
Yeah,
Correct, correct. Ours look
it's
actually way better.
it's definitely a. Oh wow, thanks. The screen turns on when you put coffee in it. It's cool. Uh, it's definitely a lighter. I think it would be a really nice morning coffee. Um, which the coffee that we were supposed to do last week were what is it, Shibo? We were
Oh,
gonna
yeah,
do
yeah,
that,
yeah.
and that was their light roast was super strong. I would not say that's a good morning coffee. This is
Right.
I would if I make it again, which I'm going to because I got the whole bag here, I would make it stronger next time. I think I used 3 tablespoons of beans, like unground beans, for about a cup and a half of water. So I'd go a full
Okay.
4 tablespoons, I think. But as far as the
Okay.
flavor goes, it's really smooth. It's I don't know. I think it's a solid coffee. I don't know that there's anything particularly special about it, but also sometimes that's not what you want in a coffee. Sometimes you want just
Agreed,
something that's
agreed.
just like a good baseline.
So the thing that's hitting me is like the initial hit of the coffee, right? I do love that initial taste, feel all that. I think it's a great coffee. The thing I don't like about it is that it lingers and it's like a weird aftertaste that lingers in my mouth, and I don't care for that too
Oh,
much.
really? See, I that's the part of coffee I like is the aftertaste.
See, well, if it's good aftertaste, this to me doesn't have a good aftertaste. It has a good initial
Interesting.
like hit, and I really like it, but the aftertaste to me is kind of like I could do without. But like you said, I do think it's very much a baseline coffee.
Yeah.
Like you could put some really good creamer in there, and it would just it would fill in all the areas. Probably take away a little bit of that aftertaste.
Mhm.
However, as a straight black coffee, I still like it. I still think it's good. Again, it's hard to. There's so many coffees, so it's hard to
Night, Aaron.
really decide what's what. But
Yeah. I actually would agree that this is a rare case where I think creamer. I would want creamer, and I don't normally do creamer in coffee. I think just a little cream and a little sugar would build out the flavor a little bit more. So
yeah,
I think I'm looking at our. So Michaela made us a comprehensive list of literally all of the coffees that we have ever reviewed to kind of
yes.
help
Are
us.
you able to share your screen?
Yes, I believe so. I've never done it
I
on
will
this
pop that
before.
up.
Share screen. All right. Is it whoop? All right. All right. Can you see the thing? All right. So
Boom.
I'm gonna zoom. Can you see it?
Yep.
All right. So it's 2 pages. So thank you so much to Michaela for making this for us. She listened to all of our episodes, got all of our ratings, and compiled them here. It's really cool. I would actually put this one at a solid 7, I think. I'm looking at what we've got, and I think I don't know. Maybe a 7.5. I'm looking at I put the Sunnergoss at 7.5. I think the Sunnergoss was just a little fuller for me. And again, Refinery has so many flavors, so maybe that's this one. I think I'd put this one at a solid 7.
Yeah, so just to go over this
I'm
just a
gonna go
little
and put
bit,
this on me.
um, our highest that we have is the Kyokopi, which it's gonna be hard to beat that. That's a super expensive coffee, super good coffee. I put it at 9.5. He put it at a 9. Right below that, we have the Three Avocados coffee at a
Mhm.
8.5 for me and 8 for Wesley. That's really good, and honestly, that's the coffee to beat for your
For the
normal
bang for your
everyday what you're
buck.
gonna drink. Yeah, yeah, that's gonna be a very difficult one to beat. And then right below there, I have, quite a bit in the 8s, and then it it's hard because when you mix the cold coffees, and Michaela had a good idea of switching it to where we have cold coffees in one group and hot coffees in another, but it's hard to keep them all in different things.
Right.
But anyway, I digress. I would agree. I would say this is a 7 to a 7.5. It's somewhere around in that range. Um,
Well, now I gotta pick one, Josh.
I'm gonna go 7.5.
All right, you are
I'm
much
a
kinder than I. You can do
I
whatever you want.
know. I know, but, like, the aftertaste. Like, okay, so if it was just without the aftertaste, I'd put 7.5. Because of the aftertaste,
Are
I
you
gotta
going
put it at 7.
7?
I gotta put it at 7. I
You gonna do
almost went
7?
6.5. Almost went
Oh,
6.5,
I
but
wouldn't say that. It's
I
definitely
would go
higher than
7.
a 6.5. This is
Well,
this is
that's the
I'm gonna
thing,
start
like, the
yeah.
aftertaste to me is 6.5, the initial taste is a
Mhm.
7.5, so I gotta meet there in the middle at the 7. What'd you put it
I
as?
I put it at a 7,
Oh, okay.
simply because I think that this is definitely a so I talked to my brother. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. I was talking to my brother when we bought it because he was with me when we bought the coffee, and he was like, because it is a little expensive. It's about $15 for a pound, and he was like, man, I wasn't expecting it to be that expensive. It was like if you're getting coffee that's more than your baseline Starbucks Folgers, like you were gonna be looking at 10, like even Pete's Coffee, I think it's $12 for 8 ounces.
Mhm.
So, and this is a whole pound, so this is actually probably less expensive than Pete's. Um, so when you're getting coffee that is definitely more specialized than the brands that you're going to buy it at the store, this is standard price. I think 3 avocados is about $20 for 10 ounces, the big bag we got. So that's not
Yeah.
bad. Um I haven't looked into the sourcing for refinery, so that's also another thing. Coffees that are sustainably and ethically sourced are more expensive, simply because the people that grow the coffee get paid. So that also impacts price. So this is a solid like if you are a coffee enthusiast, this is definitely worth checking out. Absolutely. I will admit I think I've had better that I or coffees that I prefer. That also might change if I brew it differently. If I had a French press, maybe. I still think some of the best coffee I've ever had is Black Rifle. That is solid coffee.
Yeah,
But this is a
Black
good cup.
Rifle is a good one. I put that one at where did I put that one? I put that at an 8, so I think I was even higher than you on that one, but it was
I
good.
I will say I had a lot of Black Rifle coffee when we went to visit Michaela's family for Thanksgiving because her brother-in-law buys it all the time, and that was when I had it actually brewed, and I liked it much better brewed than we had it in the. I think we had it iced before. What was it?
Oh, mhm.
It was the espresso with cream. Yeah, it's much better just a brewed black coffee. It's solid.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a good coffee. So, but moving on from that's the roast of the week. That's the,
No, that's
it
the coffee of the week.
or coffee of the week. Oh my gosh. See, it's late when we're doing this, and that's
Yeah,
messing with me. That's
and
really messing with
I'm
me.
really excited to not be able to sleep tonight because I just drank an entire cup of coffee.
Oh, I'll go to sleep like a baby. It
I'm
don't affect me.
super excited. I'm not going to sleep at all. Hey, maybe I'll actually get some work done on Skyward Sword tonight. I'll just be laying in bed with my Switch,
Hey,
being like, I should sleep.
there you go.
Bang my head into my Switch.
But let's go ahead and move on to the roast of the week. And Wes, take it away again.
Yeah, so roast of the week this week is a little bit more uplifting, I would say. We got BBC News this week. So we're official. We're like an actual like news podcast. I'm not going to read this whole article. I would absolutely encourage you guys to read it though. It's a really well-written article by Stephen Powell. But the headline is Sid Meier warns the games industry about monetization. I'm going to skip down a little bit because he kind of goes into the history of Sid Meier. Sid Meier, in case you're not aware, creator of the Civilization series, one of the most famous, most reputable video game franchises of all time, basically simulating the rise and fall of civilizations throughout world history. He's like the guy. So this is an interview with him, And I'm going to just start reading. I think it's about like a third of the way down. Speaking to the BBC on the 30th anniversary of its release, the brains behind Civilization is warning the games industry to remember why people play in the first place. Quote, the real challenge and the real opportunity is keeping our focus on gameplay, unquote, says American developer Sid Meier. Quote, that is what is unique, special, and appealing about games as a form of entertainment. When we forget that and decide it's monetization or other things that are not gameplay focused, when we start to forget about making great games and start thinking about games as a vehicle or an opportunity for something else, that's when we stray a little bit further from the path. Unquote. The financial model that supports how games companies make their money has changed dramatically in the past decade or so. Now, many developers and publishers rely on in game purchases to help them with their bottom line, rather than solely on the upfront cost of buying a title to play. Piers Harding Rolls from Ampere Analysis explains, quote, in 2021, 79% of consumer spending on games globally was from in-app purchases, microtransactions, and add-on content for games. This share is expected to grow, unquote. Not all releases that include these mechanics have been welcomed by players, with several high-profile examples in recent years of companies having to change their approach after a negative reaction from fans. And here's where we get to the roast part. Some games companies are also exploring the introduction of non fungible tokens, NFTs, a form of digital art that players can buy and own, into their games. There are those that believe that this is an inevitable part of gaming's future and another way for companies to make money from gamers, but a fiercely negative reaction on social media has forced some to rethink their plans. Sid Meier says that if major companies continue to focus on ways like this to monetize gaming, they risk losing the audience. Quote, people can assume that a game is going to be fun and what it needs for success are more cinematics or monetization or whatever. But if the core just is not there with good gameplay, then it won't work. In a sense, gameplay is cheap. The game design part is critical and crucial, but doesn't require a cast of thousands in the way that some of the other aspects do. So it's perhaps easy to overlook how important the investment in game design and gameplay is. Unquote. And I'm going to stop there because the article keeps going on. But basically, my roast is games makers. Sid Meier is telling you to sit down, shut up, and make sure your games are fun to play first of all before you all add NFTs to them. Which, as we see from releases like Battlefield 2042 or even Anthem, or I think the most famous example of microtransactions ruining a game is Battlefront 2, the new Battlefront 2. Um, as we can see this very clear movement in the games industry towards making money off of microtransactions without ensuring that the gameplay underneath those microtransactions is worth paying for, that's troubling. And it's cool to see someone as influential as Sid Meier come out and say, still stand up for solid gameplay. I think that's why, at the end of the day, with all of my problems with Nintendo, I'm still a Nintendo fan, is because it really does, for the most part. There have been some exceptions, but for the most part, it feels like they just nail down the gameplay, and the game is just fun. And then they build from there. I remember there's a famous story about Mario 64. The team spent months working on Mario's movement just so that it was fun to move Mario around on a flat plane. Then they started making levels. Like they started from that. That was part of the reason I loved It Takes Two so much, is because it started with a platforming base that was just fun. Like it was just fun to move Cody and May around and make these jumps. And then Hazelight added on top of that all of the disparate gameplay styles that It Takes Two is famous for. Just like the shooting sections and the dungeon crawler section, all of that was in addition to just solid gameplay. And I think if you take that philosophy going into monetization, you can add DLC. Yeah, I don't think anybody is upset about DLC. I am upset about NFTs. I'm not going to get over that one. NFTs are stupid. They have no place in my video games. But DLC, as long as it adds to the gameplay that is already solid, is fine. If I love a game, I'll pay the extra. I paid for the DLC for Spider-Man because the gameplay was fun and I wanted more of it. I wasn't
Right.
paying for I don't buy cosmetics. I think I personally I don't see cosmetics as a worthwhile investment. But for Spider-Man, I was like, the game is just fun. I think it's another example of Insomniac just nailing the core fun of playing a Spider-Man. So
I
um
would agree.
I just think it's cool to see Sid Meier actually come out and like call people out for it.
Well, and the thing is I bought Civilization 6 3 times. I bought it for the PlayStation,
Yeah,
I
you
bought it for
did.
the computer, and I bought it for the Xbox. So I've spent probably over $200 on Sid Meier's Civilization 6. I bought expansion packs for it and all that stuff. And the thing is buying all those expansion packs, people are like, "Oh, well, those are like it's like they're, microtransactions." Like there's a difference between paying for something that really like doesn't really do anything and then paying for something that is completely different. Like buying the expansion pack of Gathering Storm, where it adds in all completely new elements like World Congress and things like that, like
Yeah.
climate change, where if you start burning too much oil, you melt the ice caps and it floods the world. And then,
Whoa!
yeah,
Seriously?
like the World Congress can come together and actually decide whether or not to keep doing that. So what you do is essentially like they can come together and say, okay, anyone that uses this many gallons of fuel per turn uh, will actually have some like grievances put on them. Or we are okay with using oil, so anyone that doesn't use enough oil, they look at them bad or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So you can make these different things, and it happens. Like I was playing with Dominic, and he infiltrated a city state that I was Caesarian over because it was in a little bit into his territory, and he was like, "I don't like that." And I was like, "Man, I'm in charge of that city state. I'd appreciate it if you just didn't, attack them. I understand why think you need to. You think that that's your territory. It's kind of similar to what's going on in the world today." I was like, "But I don't want you to do it." He's like, "Sorry, man, I gotta do it." And he crossed their borders and attacked them. The entire world let me know that they backed me if I wanted to go to war with him, and they would not be upset with me, and they would join me in the fight to take him down. I didn't do it just because he was a good friend of mine, a good ally. I'd rather have him than the city state.
Right.
However, I did have that. The world was like came together in a congress and was like, "Hey, what's going on? Should like we'll help you if you don't want this to happen. Like we don't want this to happen." And they actually got angry with him, um, even more so than I did. So it's really it puts a twist on it. But what
Yeah.
I'm saying is like that's worth the extra $25 to $30 to
Right.
buy. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Exactly.
Having these NFTs and everything like that, where you pay upwards of even hundreds of dollars sometimes, it, it just doesn't make sense.
Well, it's a clear example of games companies seeing money, which is always what happens when something becomes mainstream is people look for the ways that they can make the most money off of it. It's profiteering. And NFTs have an insane profit margin because they cost next to nothing to produce. You can, for crying out loud, you can automate the production of NFTs. So
Yep.
once you get the system going, you can crank out hundreds, if not thousands of them, and then sell them for like 1,000% profit margin. That's unheard of. So of course people are going to go for it. But it's just frustrating because I'm starting to wonder that once like Sid Meier's generation is past, once these people that are dedicated to good gameplay are past, are we going to see games kind of falling off and going towards the monetization route? And if so, I think that would be the death of gaming. I don't know that I don't think that's going to happen. I feel like I think at that point indie developers will step up and start producing the experiences that people want. But if more and more AAA games go this route, AAA games aren't going to be worth buying anymore because they're going to be more focused on what they can sell you rather than just having a solid core.
I agree. I agree completely. And we'll see what they do. It's nice to know that Sid Meier's isn't going to go that route. That they're choosing to, you know, uh, try to
To
fight
stick
against
with
that
what
stuff.
they know, to like
Exactly. And
to stick the base.
so I'm excited for that. So moving on though to topic one, is something I'm actually really excited for, and that's Elden Ring.
Yeah,
Elden
this game
Ring,
is everywhere.
it's it helps that it's like the main game out right now, but I think it was a 96% on Metacritic, so it's doing very very well.
This is the
Um,
only Souls like that has ever tempted me. I haven't bought it. I'm still not planning on it just because Souls likes sound like a miserable experience, but it's the only one that's tempted me.
See, I'm definitely gonna check it out. Like I'm definitely gonna. I'm super hyped for it. So, um, I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna play it. I don't know how much I'll give to it. Depends on how much time I have.
You could,
We'll see.
from what I have heard, you could easily sink 200 hours into this game, easy.
Oh, I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it one
There's
bit.
some friends that got it the day it came out and had played it for like 10 hours, and they're like, I feel like I haven't even like scratched the surface.
That's crazy, dude. That's crazy.
10 hours in,
Um,
and they're like, I don't even feel like I've actually played this game.
yeah, no, that's nuts. So this says it's from GameIndustry.biz, and we have all these articles in the description of this live stream, and we'll have it in the description of YouTube when it goes live on that on
As well as
Thursday. But
podcasts. So if you're listening on
and
audio, they're there
podcasts.
too.
So it says Elden Ring is number one in the GFK. What?
I have no idea what that means.
UK
GFK
box charts.
UK?
Okay, we'll move on. This week and has smashed the launch sales of previous Souls-like games. Elden Ring is a completely new IP by Japanese developer From Software. The studio's famous for its challenging action RPGs, including Dark Souls, Demon Souls, Bloodborne, and Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice. Elden Ring is the latest in the line of titles. The previous biggest Souls game launch at boxed retail was 2016's Dark Souls 3, but Elden Ring has beaten that title's boxed launch by 26%.
That's
This is before we
insane.
consider digital sales and the download games market, or digital sales. And the download games market has accelerated significantly since 2016, which is true. Digital
Yeah.
sales data arrives later in the week, so we'll have to wait to see how that does. It says it is the third biggest retail launch of the year, behind Pokemon Legends, Arceus, and narrowly behind last week's Horizon Forbidden West. 63% of box sales were on PS5, with 70% on Xbox and 17% on PS4 and 3% on PC. PC and Xbox are heavily digitally platforms. This is purely for boxed sales.
I was gonna
So,
say, is there even a physical PC? Well, apparently there is a physical PC release, which is weird. I feel like nobody
that
buys
is
physical
weird.
PC games anymore.
I know. Yeah, I never thought about that. Hmm. I don't play
Yeah,
PC, so I don't think about that much.
I'm just
Uh,
imagining old PC games with the
I
big box.
right.
I'm just imagining a
The
big
ones that used
Elden
to be
Ring
on
box.
comes in on floppy disk.
Oh gosh.
The launch of Elden Ring means that last week's number one, Horizon Forbidden West, falls to number two. The PlayStation exclusive saw a 79% drop in sales week on week. There was a drop in available PS5 consoles this week too, though, so that might have had something to do with it. Pokemon Legends Arceus is next at number three, which is down one place. The hit Nintendo Switch game actually rose in sales week on week by 5%. That's cool. This says another recent release is Dying Light 2 Stay Human, which this week drops from number 3 to number 7 after a 55% sales slide
Oof.
week on week. So that's tough. But the main focus here is Dark Souls. And the fact that it is the fastest selling get like Dark Souls game from software, that's mind-boggling. I mean it deserves it. From what I've seen, they've released a pretty good game, very few bugs, something that's done
It
well.
I have heard that it's struggling frame rate on PC.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because, and this is coming from a PC gamer friend of mine, because games now release day and date on console and PC, studios hardly ever optimize for PC. They always optimize
Mm,
for console, and then PC
okay.
kind of comes afterwards. We kind of saw it even with Cyberpunk a little bit. Like the PC version does not run as well as a dedicated PC game could run because they're also optimizing for console first and foremost. So I have heard that PC has some performance issues. I even heard that there's some frame rate drops even on consoles. So it's understandable given how big the game is. And again, I haven't played it, and I'm not a huge frame rate like snob. Performance isn't that, unless the performance is like actively harming my gameplay experience. I'm not a huge bugbear about frame rates, but I've definitely heard that performance is an issue in some platforms.
Got you. No, I mean, get a next gen system, Scrubs. Don't play on PC anymore.
Most PCs are more powerful than next gen systems.
Lies. I lies.
That is
Not
not a
most
lie.
PCs. Not most PCs. Okay, let's specify.
Most
There's a lot
PCs
of cheap
owned by
PCs out
okay.
there.
Most PCs owned by like hardcore PC gamers. Like if you're a PC gamer, you do not have a dinky little PC from Walmart.
Right, but if I spent $350 on a PC. It would not be near as good as the Series S.
No.
So
No,
that's where I'm
the
coming
cost
from.
is definitely not there.
Right. Now, if you spend, 1,500, so 3 times as much as a Series X or PS5, then yeah, you have a decent PC on your
You
hands.
have
But
a good rig, yeah.
I don't have that much money to drop on that. So,
That's a lot
anyway,
of
moving
money. A
moving
lot
on.
of moolah.
You want to take this next topic of PlayStation Spartacus?
Yeah, so this is very interesting. This is venturebeat.com. Hey, it's Jeff Grubb. I
Jeff
like Jeff
Grubb
Grubb.
Grubb.
He's back. So Jeff Grubb on venturebeat.com. PlayStation plans 3 Spartacus tiers for as much as $16 per month. Uh, Sony is looking to expand PlayStation Plus by introducing new features and by integrating elements from PlayStation Now. Bloomberg originally reported about these efforts, which Sony internally calls Spartacus, in December. But now, GamesBeat can provide some more info on what these new offerings look like. Spartacus is an evolution of PlayStation Plus with 3 tiers. It currently calls those tiers Essential, Extra, and Premium, although those names could change between now and when the service launches. The subscription for these programs is monthly and starts at $10 and goes up to $16. And what do each of those tiers get you? Here's the current plan. And there's a little chart here. I'm just going to do my best to read it. So the baseline is PS Plus Essential, and that's $10, and that gets you monthly games and online play. Basically, what PS Plus currently gets you. You get a couple of online games. You get a couple of free games every month that you can play. Then there's PS Plus Extra that comes with the monthly games, and then a game catalog. They haven't really defined what that is. I think it's basically PS Now, pretty much. It's the PS Now
Yeah.
catalog. That's 13 a month. And then PS Plus Premium is monthly games, game catalog, streaming games, so think cloud gaming, classic games, and game trials for $16 a month. All right, going back into the article. PS Plus Essential is the PS Plus that you already know. For $10, oh, he's going to explain it all. For $10 per month, you get monthly games that you can add to your library. This works a lot like it already works today. PS Plus Extra, meanwhile, gets you monthly games and a game catalog for $13 per month. The game catalog is a library of hundreds of older downloadable games. This seems like Sony ripped the download catalog out of PS Now and popped it into PS Plus instead. PS Plus Premium gets you all of the above and then everything else for $16 per month. That everything else includes PS Now streaming capabilities. You also get a library of classic games as well as a new Game Trials feature. Game Trials enable you to download and start playing the full version of new PlayStation games. This likely has a time limit function, which is similar to how Game Trials work on the EA Play service from Electronic Arts. Again, all of these prices and names could change, but this is the general outline of what to expect from Spartacus. And these features should make PS Plus look much stronger in comparison to Xbox Game Pass. While Sony will not include full version of its blockbuster titles in PS Plus on day one, Game Trials will at least give a bigger audience a chance to sample those games. Sony is moving into a testing phase for Spartacus in the next few weeks, and it could announce the details of its new membership program in March, although that'll depend on whether it is ready to roll out the service. So, this actually sounds interesting because PS Plus has never been a competition for Game Pass. I had PS Plus for a couple years while I had my PS4, and I mainly used it for online gaming because my friends had PlayStation. Now, now that everybody moved over to Xbox, I swapped over to Game Pass Ultimate just because why would I not? But this looks interesting. It looks like there's actually going to be a solid reason to try Spartacus. And honestly, that 13 that middle tier looks like it's going to have plenty for $13. Like PS Now had a decent library, honestly. I tried the free trial of it for a month, and there's a lot of games there, a lot of games that I wanted to play. So it looked like that's a decent value for your money. And then the 16 getting I'm seeing the comments about cloud gaming. The $16 a month does offer streaming cloud game. Now, I guess that might be different than cloud gaming. So you're not going to be able to play on your phone. So if that's what you're referring to as cloud gaming, no, PlayStation does not have that. But they will be offering with the highest tier streaming games to your consoles. You don't have to download them, which I use cloud gaming on my Xbox Series S all the time to try out games. Yeah, 16 a month is Game Pass Ultimate is 15 to give you cloud gaming, and that might be going up this month too.
So here's my stance on it. Number one, they don't have day and date games. That's not something they
Right.
specified. That's
Yeah.
not something I think they'll do.
Well, even Jeff Grubb was
If
like, they're probably not going to do that. And that does not sound like a Sony thing.
right, if I was $16 a month is a lot to ask. It's already higher than Xbox Game Pass, and they're not anywhere near Game Pass yet. So if I was them, the way that they could get this done is I would say monthly games for PlayStation Plus Essential and the game trials, right? So the game
Mhm.
or no, classic games. I would say classic games, right? Then for the PlayStation Extra, you'd have your monthly games, your catalog. I would even say classic games. So those three, right? That's what you get
Yeah.
three for the second one. And then premium allows you to stream the games, right? And the trials. So the trials are essentially like what I'm assuming. I don't know for sure, but on Game Pass you can do like EA Play allows you to play 10 hours of the newest game they have for free before they want you to buy it.
Right.
That's what I think the game trials are. Demos, those will still be there like always. I mean, people want you to play demos, things like that. So if they added the classic games to first tier and added the game trials as well as classic games to that second tier, the only thing you get extra in the premium is to stream. I think that they would actually be competitive with Game Pass in the terms of for $13, so two less, you get a lot of stuff you just can't stream.
Right.
Um, so I just think they're doing this the wrong way. Like I said in our predictions, I think it's gonna flop.
So the problem with this is the problem with any product that is specifically designed to compete with an existing product. Because Xbox came out with Game Pass and they kind of invented this like this catalog. I mean, maybe I don't know. Did Game Pass exist before PS Now?
I want to say yes. It might have come out roughly around the same time, but Game Pass was crap and PlayStation Now was crap, but Game Pass then really took off.
Game
And
Pass. So
PlayStation
basically,
Now they didn't focus.
Game Pass nailed the game subscription service model, the Netflix of gaming. They figured out how to make that work for a price that people wanted to pay. And they made it worth people's while by having games that people wanted to play, especially with the purchase of Bethesda. Like they nailed it. And PlayStation saw that and they're like, we can do that too. So instead of coming up
Yeah.
with something innovative, they're copying Microsoft and they're not adding anything. And they're doing the same price. Like even if it was cheaper, it would still like that would be a reason to switch to PlayStation is just for the cost, but they're doing it for the same price as if it's comparable. And it's just not because as we're seeing in our comments, the only way it's competitive is to have exclusive giveaways, which I agree with, which PlayStation kind of is doing with Horizon Forbidden West, but that's not going to be available with Spartacus. So what's the
Yeah.
point? And then saying Xbox provides mobile, PC, and Xbox coverage, and then partnerships with Discord, Hulu, Disney, and game develop. Like the problem is PlayStation is a games company. Well, okay, no, I was going to say Microsoft is a media company, but Sony is a media company. So Sony could do it. Sony has the stuff. I just think Sony has been a weird company when it comes to playing nice with other people. They don't like it. They don't like collaboration. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's why they're so good at their single player
Mm-hmm.
story driven games, but they're not good with the other stuff. They don't play well with people and their system doesn't play well with people. That's just
Nope.
how it is. Um so I agree with Zeal aka Josh. I agree with him that and the way they do is they do giveaways, make it competitive. If they were to say day and date games like Spider-Man, day and date, you know, on Project Spartacus, that would get people's attention.
That'd
God
be
of War,
something.
day and date, Spartacus, that gets people. Then now we're talking, Horizon Forbidden West, day and date, Spartacus. Like, get it? I'd get that if I had Sony because at that point, I mean, that's all you need for
Yeah.
Sony. That's all you
Well,
need.
and again, that is base level because that's what Game Pass does. That's not even adding anything to Game Pass. That is just keeping up with Game Pass. And
Right.
Josh said also they should offer discounts on their products for members of their programs. Again, something Game Pass does. You get exclusive
Well,
discount. Now, they did for a while. I think PS Plus members got discounts on certain games that regular users didn't get.
they do, and they did. I don't know if they do now, but they still have a lot to flesh out. So they still have a
Mhm.
lot that they're doing. They're still going to make changes, all this stuff. It's all fluid. It's still there to change.
Right.
However, I mean, we have to wait and see how it is. Um, we have a couple more things to get through, which we're not going
Yeah.
to be able to get through all of them. Well, actually, you know what? We will. I'll just run through them pretty quickly. Um, so topic 3, Xbox Series S drops to $250 in a huge sale.
This makes
So
me
you can
angry.
now
I just bought
you
my Series S.
you can now get into next gen gaming for the very low price of $250, which is
This is
mind
this is
boggling.
less than the price of a Nintendo Switch base model.
It's it's insane. And to think, so $250, $15 a month on top of that, and you can play all the new games that Microsoft comes out with, including the new Elder Scrolls game, including all of the previous Elder Scrolls games. I mean, they have the new Madden game on there. I mean,
Yeah.
it's they have the new Forza game. I mean, this is I mean, Microsoft is running away with this gen
They
already.
really
It's
are.
easy. It's very easy to get a Series S. I can find them pretty much anywhere I go.
I bought mine at
PlayStation
Target.
5s are still yeah. Yeah, I got my wife one the other day. I went to GameStop. They're like, "Oh, we just sold our last one." I ran across the street to Target. They had one. I mean, it's crazy. 1440K and 120 hertz. Sign up. I didn't because I'm a 4K snob.
Okay, fun fact about the 4K thing. I bought the Series S back when I had my old TV. I was like, 4K is not going to make a difference. I got a dinky little TV. HDMI port burn out on the TV. I ended up needing to buy a new TV. And you are hard pressed to not buy a 4K TV now. Like all of them are 4K. So I have a giant TV now, and I'm like, crap, I could have had a 4K console. Not that I would have noticed. I am not a 4K snob. The thing runs like a dream. Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing, like, it's such a low price for entry. If I was getting my kid one, I'd get the Series S. Like my
Mhm.
wife, I got her the Series S. She loves playing Sims and Grounded, stuff like that.
Sorry,
She loves that
Josh is
stuff.
feeling embarrassed that we read his comment out loud. Then don't
Aw, man.
comment. We are
You
going to read
comment
the
on this show.
comments.
We love reading comments on this show. If you guys are watching on YouTube or listening on the podcast and you're like, oh crap, I want to comment, hop on over to Twitch. We're going to be doing it every single Monday. We go live. Time varies. We're trying to nail that down. But
We are going
anyway,
to figure that out.
Series S is just an amazing level of entry for pretty much anyone that wants to try the new system. In fact, you can actually get yourself $100 backbone for your iOS, right? For your iPhone, and it works like a dream. I plug that thing in. I can cloud game to my heart's content, right? And 15 bucks a month, $100 for that, and you're gaming with the rest of them. It has a place to plug in your headset so you can talk to them in a party, all that stuff. It's amazing. So really, games, there's no reason to not play games anymore. There's no like,
Right.
oh, I don't have the money. $100 and you're there.
Well,
250, you have a system.
yeah.
Like it, and you can probably find a used one for 200 now. I mean, that just blows my mind. Before, there was never a system like that. So Microsoft really is coming down to play anywhere. They're going to come out with a dongle for the smart TVs where you can
Yeah.
just grab a controller and play straight from your 4K TV cloud gaming. Like it's
Yeah.
amazing. Real quick, topic of the show number 4, Microsoft brings Twitch live streaming back to the Xbox dashboard, which is fantastic. Okay, so I'm hoping to start streaming games eventually again. I love doing it. It's a lot of fun, but with a kid, takes a lot of time. Don't have all
Yeah.
that time. That being said, all you have to do, hit the share button, click on Twitch, boom, it goes live. You're ready to go. But that's another thing, like what we were talking about, partnerships that Microsoft is doing with Twitch. Like getting something like that so easily accessible and able to stream on like at a moment's notice is fantastic. Microsoft is just doing everything they can to make this a community and bring
Mhm.
people together and get them into gaming because that's what they like it for.
Yeah. That seems to be their big focus, is just making things accessible, which is weird because it's not normally something that I would think of Microsoft as being. Well, in a way, I see it though, because they've kind of always been the people's like Macs were for the artists and the directors, but the PC was for the average Joe working a day job. Like you bought a
Right,
PC,
right,
so like
right.
they've kind of always been that everyman sort of thing, and they're
Yeah.
definitely going that direction with gaming.
Um, that is pretty much all that we have here.
Yeah, we kind of did a
So,
speed round there at the end.
well, dude, we're already at over 45-minute long episodes, so
Yeah.
it's been a lot. But I appreciate everyone tuning into this. It means a lot. It really does. It's something that we've done for 31 episodes now, and it's fun. And I'm not sick and tired of it yet. I love playing. I love doing it. Um, by the way, Microsoft is not a sponsor, but they are willing.
Oh, if only.
That would be amazing if we could get them as a sponsor. Anyway, um, I'd be okay if they just wanted to buy us. They're buying
Yeah.
everything out there, throw them billions of dollars. I would just take $1 million for our podcast. We'd give it to them. Anyway, we're worth that, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
but no, thank you guys for watching, for supporting. I mean, we have a couple people that, including Josh, that donate to the show. Um, it means a lot that you guys donate, that you guys
Yeah.
subscribe and do all those things. It really does. And we're going to be talking to those of you who have donated. You guys know who you are. We're going to be talking to you guys about coming on the show and talk about your favorite games and just having a good time, because we do appreciate everything you guys do for us and everything um, that you guys try to do. And but yeah, so I kind of rambled on there and lost my words
Yeah.
because it's late and I'm tired. But thank you guys again, just for everything. And I guess I'll start leaving it there. Drink
Yeah.
lots of games, or drink lots.
Drink lots of games, play lots of coffee.
I'm telling you, I am
We can't
tired,
we can't do
and
this at night, man. We're gonna have to start doing it in the morning again.
this coffee, it's not enough.
It's not
It's not
working.
enough.
That's why you brewed a whole
It didn't
pot.
wake me up. Anyway, drink lots of coffee, play lots of games, play Madden football since there is no football on, and until the draft, that's all you got. But thank you guys for tuning in. We will see you guys next week. Have a good one, guys.
See you guys.